Welcome to the Cayman's Island podcast, where we talk all things San Francisco 49ers. I'm your host, David Cayman. And in today's show, we're going to be previewing the Carolina Panthers at the San Francisco 49ers. That takes place this Monday night at Levi Stadium. And I think that this game in particular is going to answer several questions for the 49ers faithful fan base. I have talked to multiple fans of the 49ers about this game, and I really get the impression that we are really looking past the Panthers in this game. And look, guys, I understand where those feelings are coming from. Last week, Bryce Young had a career game against the Atlanta Falcons in a 30-27 win. Bryce Young had over 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns, did a lot of good things in that game. However, the week prior, Bryce had barely over 100 yards, no touchdowns, and a double-digit loss to the New Orleans Saints. So you really don't know, due to Bryce Young's inconsistency, really what quarterback you're going to get in the game. Now, I will say there's definitely some improvement. The Panthers are right now 6-5. In the thick of fighting for a playoff spot for sure. But due to the fact that he has this Jekyll and Hyde type of performance all the time, you really can't put any stock to what product they're going to produce on the field. So I can understand where the confidence comes from in the fan base. But just stay with me on this because I've played the game and I've done the exercise on this one. I've talked to numerous fans of other NFL franchises just about Carolina. And the temperature I get is that they feel like Carolina is a mid-team, a mediocre team at best. Honestly, the feedback has been they don't even feel like Carolina has a true shot, regardless of their record right now, of making the playoffs just due to how mediocre they are. There's only a few names on the team that really, I guess, on the offensive side of the ball, names that you even know. Bryce Young, because he was a number one pick a few years ago coming out of Alabama. On the year, he's 197 completions out of 314 attempts. He's got an 85.97 rating right now, 4 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. And again, I want to go back to the fact that those numbers are like this because of his career game that he had last week. He's got 1,962 passing yards right now. The other name that we know that we put respect on is definitely Rico Dowdle. He's had a breakout year thus far, 833 yards rushing, 5 touchdowns. From a receiving standpoint, it's quite curious because they really only have one guy. Their rookie, Tate McMillan, he's got 54 receptions, 748 yards, and 4 touchdowns. The next nearest receiver only has 24 receptions, and their third leading receiver is their running back, Rico Dowdle, with 23 receptions on the season. So they really have a situation where, from a receiving threat standpoint, it's one guy, okay? And we've got Diamador Lenore that can, I know we're not going to do this. I wish we would. I wish we would just put our best corner on the best receiver. And I know that we like to mix things up, and we'll probably have plays or instances where Renardo Green is going to be covering him. You're going to have instances where it's Diamador Lenore. I would completely shadow the guy and double him and dare these other guys to beat us, honestly. But I know we deploy a different defensive philosophy sometimes. And when I talk to the fans of other NFL franchises, it's funny because one of the biggest reasons they feel that the Panthers are so mediocre is because of the fact on the defensive side of the ball, you can't really name anybody. I know J.C. Horn is that guy, and he does a really good job for them in that secondary. But outside of that, most folks couldn't even name a Panthers defender. The exercise that I did was, okay, let's play that game. I said, on the 49ers, guys, outside of Nick Bosa, Fred Warner, Diamador Lenore, go. Tell me somebody else. I had a few folks tell me Mykel Williams just because all the draft hype of where he was selected in the draft. I had a few folks remember that we picked up Bryce Huff. Outside of that, guys, you could say that right now we're below mediocre on defense with the amount of players that we've lost and the sheer amount of injuries on the defensive side of the ball that we've had to deal with. So where I'm at in this game is this. I do think, let's get this out of the way, I do think the 49ers win. But the questions that are going to be answered in this game are going to be many. I think this is the game where we're truly going to know is, can our offense carry us? Can our offense really be so effective and so efficient that it can get us over the hump and make up for the lacking or the struggles that we're having on defense? I feel like against the Panthers that it truly will. So that's the answer to the first question. Can the Niners offense carry us? In this game, I think so. Against the Browns, who always give us a problem forever, since I don't think we've won in Cleveland since the 80s. That's going to be the game that really answers the question, like, can our offense carry our defense at that point? Are we going to sit here, and we'll talk about this later in another show, but are we going to sit here and lose to Shedeur Sanders? Yeah. So I think in this game, a lot of questions are going to get answered. If we struggle and can barely pull off a win, or for some reason were to lose to the Carolina Panthers, those questions are answered. Okay? This is going to basically tell me this game whether or not the 49ers can squeak their way into the playoffs and have a shot at making some noise in the playoffs. I think that gets answered based on what we see in this game. Number 2, is Brock Purdy back? Now, what I mean by that is Brock Purdy truly healthy enough to produce back-to-back successful performances? Okay? In this game, are we going to see him move around a little bit better? Maybe I'm not sitting here saying, is Brock Purdy going to have a 35-yard scramble? No, I'm just saying, is he still cautious? Does he still look a little ginger back there in the pocket when he's trying to scramble? Do we see more confidence in the fluidity of his movement in the pocket? I think he proved he can throw the football. We're aware of that. But is he mentally back enough to string together 2 successful back-to-back performances? Again, there's been some questions about Brock's consistency from last year, and he's just been injured. He hasn't been on the field enough for us to really build that confidence. I'm confident in him, like I said, no offense to the Carolina Panthers, but their defense is nothing to write home about. There's nothing that scares me about Carolina's defense, and for all intents and purposes, Brock should have a very good game in this one, and I anticipate, honestly, that he will. So that's going to be the second question that's answered. I guess you could say question 2B is, not only can the offense carry the defense, if Eddie Piñeiro's not there, and we just signed Matt Gay, who, oddly enough, the Commanders cut to pick up Jake Moody, and we got a kicker that they thought was worse than Jake Moody. I'll say this, with kickers, sometimes it's just a change of scenery. Okay, with kickers, sometimes a change of scenery. And this is a guy who's kicked in a Super Bowl with the Rams. So I'm hopeful he can get a change of scenery. Hopefully we won't have to lean on him too much. With this offense, as effective as we know that it can be, if we can get down here and kick a couple of 40-yard field goals, a few extra pump points, I feel confident that the kicker can handle this. Now, if we're going down there and expecting this man to hit 2, 3, 55-plus yard field goals, you're setting yourself up for failure with that. So can the Niners offense compensate for maybe a missed field goal in this particular contest? So we're gonna find out a whole lot about that. Thirdly, can Robert Saleh make enough opportune play calls on defense to put pressure at the right times in the big moments of the game to get us a few crucial stops when we need it? Throughout Robert Saleh's career, I know there's been a couple of bad games this year. The Houston game was absolutely a head scratcher. I'm confident that Robert Saleh can make the right play calls at the opportune times to get over the hump against the Carolina Panthers. So I feel like all of those questions are going to be answered. Will all the questions be answered for the 49ers season coming out of this game? I don't think so. I think only time will tell. if there is a question that I would like to have answered in this game, which I don't think that it will, is where is our receiving core? Where is it at? Right now, you still have Christian McCaffrey by far over double our leading receiver right now. And then you have Kendrick Bourne, of all people, with 31 receptions for 482 yards. So he's still our second leading receiver, even over Jawan Jennings. And I know Ricky's been hurt. I know George Kittle's been hurt. And just George's presence back on the field has made our offense look way better. But I'd really like to know where Ricky Pearsall's at. And I just don't know. I just feel like even if he has a decent game, that's still not answered. My biggest question about the 49ers offense is not what Christian McCaffrey's going to do. I really like what Brian Robertson's been doing over these last few weeks. I'd love him to have double-digit touches. I would really, if you told me that Brian Robinson got 15 touches in this game and CMC was not hurt, I think that's a recipe for an easy win. I really do. But my questions are coming in at the receiver core. Where are we going to have a wide receiver step up and set himself apart as the number one wide receiving weapon, not just relying on George Kittle at tight end so much? So with all that being said, my prediction for this game is a 27-21 win. Good guys, the San Francisco 49ers coming up victorious on Monday night against the Carolina Panthers. Tell me what you guys think in the comments. Do you see a closer scoring game than that? What do you think if somehow, some way, some shape, some form, some fashion, if the Niners were to lose to what most fans feel is a mediocre team? Tell me what you guys, again, think in the comments. As always, if you enjoyed the show today, please remember to like and subscribe. It absolutely helps out the views. It helps out the channel tremendously. As always, guys, take care and be blessed.